Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another video. Big up your damn selves in the building. Make sure you smash up the likes every single damn time and subscribe if you are new. Chelsea versus Newcastle preview. Now, let's get into things because there's a lot going on. There's an update to the injury situation. As always, on the scroll bar at the bottom, all the updated injury team news because you need to see it because it's constantly changing and fluctuating. But to give you what is different from the previous match, Chilwell is undergoing some sort of medical assessment, attention, surgery. Colwell has hurt his toe or toes, multiple toes, potentially one of the toes, the big toe, the small toe, I'm not sure which toe. And Gallagher's ill. I mean, this is unheard of, but he is actually also struggling with something. So Silva's come back in, Cucurella's come back in. I would be cautious with their return. We all remember Wolves away. Caicedo was injured. Okechukwu got rushed back in 60 minutes. Next thing you know, he's out, never to be seen again. I would have them on the bench because this constant cycle of, circus of injuries, and I'm not here for it. If it was me and I could go back, I would have written off so many of these players for the rest of the season. Lavia, Reece James, Wesley Fofana, Leslie Okechukwu. I would have just written them off like cars. You write them off. You're written off. Finished. And I would have said, Andre Santos, there's your midfield position. Ian Maatsen, there's your left back position. Because right now, we don't have a left back available at full capacity. Like I said, we could rush back Cucurella. I would prefer to use an academy product if possible and keep people in their natural positions and not move Gusto about. But we'll get into that with the team news. Now, coming into this game, the context is that we're 11th. And Newcastle are 10th. 4 points ahead of us. That gap could extend. Wolves are 5 points clear in 9th. Brighton are 6 points clear in 8th. West Ham are 7 points clear in 7th. That's the situation. That's the reality. Okay? Fulham are 1 point behind. Bournemouth are 4 points behind. Right. So now that we've all stomached that, processed that, understood that, shocking, I know, but this is our predicament. How are Newcastle going to approach this? Now, I've seen them put up dirty, disgusting low blocks at the Emirates, at the Etihad, at the San Siro, at the Parc des Princes. Are we of that level where they will respect us to do such things? I doubt it. I don't know. We're going to find out. So that low block is really tough to get past, and that could be an Achilles heel for us, or they could just come to control the game, play their game and be confident and strut their stuff, and we have to hit them on the break. I don't know which way this is going to go. It could be very, very tight, very, very close. The confidence levels for me, you at home, I don't know where you feel this is heading, but I can sense a draw. So I'm worried about this fixture because they could mix their game up and do a variety of different things to cause us problems. Now, coming into this game, Pochettino did mention potentially using academy products. He says that about 9 of the young players have trained with us in the last couple of days. Now, does that really mean that they're going to be involved? He says that there's a potential for them to be. We have an amazing academy. The circumstance could suit them. I say, listen, it depends on the player and the position. I understand integrating more young players into the youngest team in the league, not easy. I understand integrating young players into a team that lacks no leadership, no stability, no chemistry, no cohesion. Not good, not ideal. And also the crowd are at Stamford Bridge very, very, very on edge. So that's not good for a young 18-year-old to be making their Chelsea debut. Potentially that could go tits up and ruin their confidence. The other side is we kind of have no choice sometimes to play these guys because we don't want to rush people back and have that, like I said, cycle of injury circus at our club. So we may have to throw in a Samuel Smith at left back instead of moving Augusto and then putting in a Gilchrist or moving a Disasi out there or a Chalobah. It depends what you think is the best protocol. Obviously, Almiron's going to play out there, but I would like to see people playing in their natural positions in this game. Personal preference. Just to see some sort of consistent way of playing, that would be nice. Instead of always having an Achilles heel or an issue in our team that we have to compensate for, and then suddenly we can't play away. But we'll see. I'll see it when I believe it with Pochettino in terms of who he's going to use, because he said we have Washington, so that's an option after Jackson. We've not seen Washington on really at all, barely even on the bench. Sometimes two keepers are there. So I don't know. We'll see what happens on that front. Now, moving on. In terms of the Mourinho situation, because some people want him back at the club. He has responded to a Chelsea fan saying, "Thank you, my friend, but Chelsea is not the Chelsea we once knew." He also went on to say that he really wants to be in football tomorrow if he could, but he wants to make the right decision in terms of what move he's going to make. This is not that move. He is not going to come back here. The board will not be able to put up with his mannerisms and his ways and his demands, because they're trying to build something completely opposite to what he believes in and what he wants Chelsea to be. And he's not sanctioned, or, you know, he's not looking for this type of play, these type of players, these young players that need constant development and nourishment and milk and water and juice and drink. He does not want to deal with this many young players at once. Couple, no problem. Integration, little by little, no problem. But he will want seniors, and we have a policy of no over 25. So that's not going to run with Mourinho. If you saw his signings at Roma, Nemanja Matic, etc., he is not going to be bringing in. He's not going to be coming into this situation. So that just kind of deads that, if you didn't already know that already. And also with the transfers front, Osimhen, Ornstein thinks it's unlikely. That's the type of player Mourinho would want to bring in. Financially, is it doable? I don't think it will be. Also, Lewis Hall, Newcastle have to finish 15th for that deal to go through. They are going to do that, 15th or above. He is going to join them for about 30 million. Some people will say, yay, that means we're going to get the money we need before June the 30th, so we don't get deducted points. I say, why are we even in that position in the first place? Are we stupid? Are we dumb? Why are we so, last minute? Why are we scrambling around for cash? It depends how you want to look at it. But that's the situation, and that's where we're at. So, the only quote that I'm going from at that press conference that kind of I looked at and thought interesting, outside of the youngsters and the news on Cucurella being back and whatnot, was that Pochettino said, "I hope one day Chelsea fans will support me the same way Newcastle do with Eddie Howe, because I'm here. I'm the coach of Chelsea and I want to win as much as our fans do." I've spoken about comparisons before. They're never good. Where Eddie Howe took Newcastle from a relegation scrap to top 4 in 18 months. Relegation scrap to mid-table to top 4. That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Very similar to what Emery's done at Aston Villa. Relegation scrap under Steven Gerrard. Contesting for top 4 this season. Incredible. We are 11th. We were mid-table last year. We have not moved. So that's not all your fault. But again, if you want that love, you're going to have to earn it. You're not going to just get it. And you'd want to start trying to interact with the fans as well. Like I said, I'm not really a passion merchant, but if you want that love, you definitely should interact more. You should definitely stand up on the touchline when we're losing games and try and get in amongst it. It just helps. You don't have to do it. I'm just advising you. So that's how I see that situation. That support, whether it's going to come or not, very, very dependent on results and pretty much nothing else. So let's see how that goes. Moving on. Disasi, good news. The only player to be fit every game this season. We need more players like this. More durable players would be great. The fact that he's the only player to be fit every game this season is really alarming. It's good news for him personally, for him as an individual. That's good for him. But for everyone else, that's very alarming. And I don't really feel sorry for us from an injury standpoint anymore, because it must be us. We must have done something wrong behind the scenes. There must be some sort of neglect or incompetence going on, because it's past bad luck now. It's becoming a bit ridiculous. Every time we do a preview, there's fresh injuries. That's not good. That's really odd. So need to sort that out. But anyway, moving on to the tactics of this. My team, your team at home. What team do we even pick for this game? It's a tough one. There's quite a few variables going around in my head. I start with Petrovic in goal. Obviously Gusto, Chalobah and Disasi at centre-back. Like I said, taking time with Silva, taking time, and Samuel Smith at left-back. Now, there's options here. You could have gone Gusto left-back, Gilchrist right-back. You could have gone Gusto left-back, Chalobah or Disasi right-back. All of those right backs give absolutely nothing going forward. Dasasi, Chalobah, Gilchrist. They don't give nothing going forward. They don't give a cross. They don't give an overlap. They don't give anything. So for me, I'm playing Gusto over there because he can create chances. He can cross the ball, as we saw in recent times, and he will give us something to potentially rely on from a creative standpoint, maybe, right? He's had a great season. I don't want to mess that up. In comes Samuel Smith at left back. He's young, yes. It's his debut, yes. But balance in the team. There's no Colwell, so he can't play at left back. There's no Chilwell, and Cucurella, I wouldn't risk. Now, if Cucurella is past medically fit 100%, put him in the team. Let's see if he stands the test of time. But if he doesn't, I just play a left-footed left back at left back, make one change to the structure, and hope he gets through the game okay. If he doesn't, take him off and at least say that you've done it. Maybe Gilchrist goes in there. But I'd just try and keep things as much the same as possible instead of killing two birds with one stone, taking two positions out for one. Caicedo and Enzo got to play in that midfield. We got no other options. Andre Santos continues to sit on the Strasbourg bench and not play any minutes for a team that is now dropping down the league and is potentially going to be in a relegation scrap. I thought their kind of letter or their statement to Blues Co was quite incredible, really, quite empowering, inspiring. And it's nice, and hopefully maybe potentially we'll be inspired by such statements and maybe move on this situation as well. They said they don't want any more under 23 players. They said that, listen, there's no balance in the team in terms of the recruitment. And they said, listen, you're not going to treat us like some second-rate cash cow. If you don't start, seriously taking this club in, as serious as we do, then we're gonna call for your heads. We wanted a meeting, you haven't come to the meeting. We wanted a face-to-face, you haven't had the face-to-face. So now they've put a statement out. So pretty impressive stuff. But there's no Santos. He doesn't get any minutes. His development is looking pretty much stagnated, and the whole season now he's going to have had no minutes at Nottingham Forest and Strasbourg, unfortunately. But there is some good news on Aloni, so that's going to balance out in the preview, which is nice. Now, This is the front line, right? We know that Madueke and Gusto don't have a good chemistry. Gusto likes to overlap. Madueke likes to start high and wide in the touchline. They get in each other's way. So I've just completely ruled that out today. Gone Palmer, Gusto. They have a nice potential chemistry and relationship forming on that side. So I'm leaving it like that. Mudryk played in the 10 against... I know. It was a championship team, okay? You don't need to start mocking me. I'm just saying I would like to potentially try it again. What else do we have? We have no Gallagher. We have no 10. We have no Nkuku. We have no Carney Chukwuemeka. What do you want from me? I'm just trying new things, guys. Let's see how it goes. Sterling on the left. And if it doesn't work, Palmer goes in the 10, Sterling goes on the right, Mudryk goes on the left. This is interchangeable. In game, give it 10 minutes. If Mudryk isn't playing well in the 10, move him to the left. Palmer comes in, Sterling goes right. And the good thing about Sterling on the right is it doesn't affect Gusto as much as Madueke from what I've seen over the season. Like, they can play together and it's not a calam, it's not a catastrophe. And Jackson goes up front. That's all we've got. That's the team. That's the thinking behind it. You let me know in the comments down below what your team is. Now, Newcastle, their expected team's on screen. Bruno Guimaraes, he's a bastard, okay? He's a shithouse. So be careful of this. This is going to be a physical game. Potentially Willock and Longstaff in there as well. Very physical game. I think it's going to be a very stop and start game. I think it's going to be a very combative game. It's probably a game that maybe Gallagher could have suited, but again, he's not available. Isak, Gordon, Almiron, very dangerous front three. Very concerning. Very interchangeable as well. Almiron works his arse off. Gordon has been having a good season, and Isak, injury-stricken, but has got the quality to put us away and put us in problems. And that backline as well is there. So, yeah, that's the Newcastle predicted team. It's a very good team. It's why I'm not particularly confident going into the game, because that can beat us for sure. No doubt about it. That's closer to their strongest team. Obviously missing Joe Linton, maybe Tonali as well. Wilson is always injured, but it's still a very, very good team. And Poch's expected team is not really too dissimilar to mine. I just think he's going to start Sterling. I think he's going to start Gilchrist at left back. We've seen it before. We've also seen Disasi at right back and Gusto at left back. That could happen. We haven't seen him play Chalobah at fullback, but we know that can be an option as well. So we'll see. He could also play Silva from the start. He could play Cucurella from the start. There's so many options back there. Some of them are touch and go. We don't really know if they're ready. So we'll see. There's a lot to unpack in that defense. We could get any version of a back four. We don't even know how that's going to look. We may even get a back five. Who knows? We might even continue to play a back three. But there's a lot of options there now. It's very unpredictable. I don't even know what's going to happen. So we'll see. I went with a 1-1 prediction to be realistic on the Big Six. Am I looking forward to the game? Not really, if I'm honest. Not really, guys. I think it's going to be a slog. I think it's going to be potentially quite boring. I think if Newcastle come and play a low block or just come and shit up the place, stink up the place and just get aggressive and tackles and fouls and just... it doesn't sound like the beautiful game to me. It doesn't sound like the beautiful game. Stamford Bridge, it's not the greatest place to be right now. It doesn't sound like a great game, guys. I'm not going to lie. It's a Monday night. Everyone's going to be watching. It could go sour. Let's see. And then we move on to Leicester. Let me know your team in the comments down below. Let me know your prediction. Big up your damn selves. As always, in this building. In a bit, people. Peace.